You know, I teach leadership and interpersonal communications, human connection all over the world. I teach it in the private sector, I teach it in the public sector, top 10 banks, nonprofits, law enforcement, special operations forces. And what I see consistently these days is, and it's not everybody, but I see it enough that it concerns me, is that leadership is primarily focused in the context of the job or work that that person is in. And then when the sun sets on that, they're done. They walk away. I was brought up to understand that leadership is forever. And I saw this on display time and time again, particularly in combat in Afghanistan and after Afghanistan. As I look at my life 6 years after retirement from the military, after 23 years, I am coming to see more and more that leadership is forever. Real leadership, rooftop leadership is forever. And that's why I chose this title for the third video in our little series right now on Rooftop Rally Point of 5 lessons I learned in combat that I believe you can apply in your life. And the third one is leadership is forever. The guy that showed me this and his teammates is Chief Warrant Officer Romulo Camargo, or Romy. And Romy and I are old friends, man. We go way back to, gosh, when he was a staff sergeant in Special Forces and we were operating in 1st Battalion, 7th Group down in South America. Just an amazing guy. His beautiful wife, Gabby, and their kids. You know, Romy is just such an amazing leader. Romy, on his 3rd tour to Afghanistan, gosh, I think it's over 10 years ago now, was wounded, shot through the throat in Zabul province, and really had an injury that probably should have taken his life, except that his teammates were so amazing. His medic, Steve Hill, and the rest of his team rallied to Romy's aid, you know, pulled security while Steve got in there and did an emergency tracheotomy, and then breathed for Romy as the rest of the team fought backwards to include through a riverbed, and then medically evacuated Romy via chopper. And then these amazing crews, medical crews, flight medics, moved Romy to Longstall, Germany, and then on to the United States, Walter Reed, and then ultimately to James Haley Hospital here in Tampa. And he just continued to recover along the way. But what strikes me about this is that the leadership that was displayed at every level shows how leadership is forever. You know, Romy had established himself as an amazing combat leader well before that firefight occurred. You know, Romy was the kind of guy you wanted to be near when stuff went south, right? When things went south, when things got bad, Romy was the guy that you wanted to be by because he always knew what to do. He was always first into the fight. He was in the lead vehicle when they were hit during this ambush. He was up in the turret, as he was always doing, leading from the front. And that's just how Romy led. And he took care of his men. He took care of his families. He loved them more than life itself. And he demonstrated that through action and deed all the time, not just in battle, but in the small moments, right? He made sure that his team was close when they were back home. He made sure that his men and their families were taken care of, right? All the time. And he would fight for them viciously because leadership is forever. And then when things took a turn and Chief Warrant Officer Romy Camargo was now the one that was hit, his team took over. They didn't panic. They didn't go over in a corner and suck their thumb like, okay, now our leader's done, we're done, right? Because of the way Romy led and because of the way he empowered his men, they stepped up. They realized it was their moment to lead. And they each did their job in a way that collectively ensured that Romy was medically evacuated. And then guess what? They continued the mission. They continued the mission and pushed on because that's what leadership means. Leadership is forever. And then when Romy got back home, right, the team would call and check on him. Those of us that were back home in D.C., we would go and spend time with him. Old teammates would sit with him while he went through surgery. We would sit with Gabby because leadership is forever. And when they told Romy he would never walk again, when they told him he would never leave the hospital, when they told him he would never breathe on his own again, all of those things, right? that Romy and his wife Gabby and those in his inner circle, we never believed it because leadership is forever, right? And eventually Romy learned to breathe on his own again. He left the hospital. He hasn't walked yet, but by God, I really believe he will. And so do a lot of other people, including Romy and Gabby. His team still comes to see him all the time. His wife, Gabby, and him have opened a spinal cord injury recovery center that is premier in the world, helping other veterans and other spinal cord injury patients get back on their feet or learn to gain new movements or quality of life again, because leadership is forever. Romy could have easily just retired with 100% disability. He earned it. In fact, a lot of people encouraged him to do that, but not Romy, because he understands that leadership is forever. His teammates today, they still come see him. They still come participate at Stay in Step. They still have team parties. They still take care of each other because leadership is forever. And again, I think, what if we did that in our lives? What if we thought about leadership that way? What if you thought about your associates and your employees like that? What if you viciously fought for them? What if you stayed in touch with them after you left or after they left, because leadership is forever? What if we asked thoughtful, open-ended questions when someone at work seems distant or disconnected or angry, and we actually figured out what's going on? We meet them where they are, not where we want them to be. We figure out that they've actually got things going on at home, or a severe loss in the family, or they're suffering from depression or dependency of some kind. Because leadership is forever. And the kind of work that we do is what Romy did in those small moments, the moments before things go high order, the moments where you take care of your people and you connect and you look out for them and you never quit on them. Because you guessed it, leadership's forever. That's something that Romy and the men of ODA 7111 taught me. And I'll never forget it, and I hope you use it in your life. I'll see you on the rooftop.